What if I told you that you're on the right track to become the best version of you? The fact that this video was even recommended to you means that you're someone who is just either getting started in self-improvement or has been around for a few months and just needs a refresher. Before I give you this life-changing video, or what was life-changing for me, I want to warn you that everything I am going to say is laid out in a plan. Everything that I've done from the start to the finish in steps. So I encourage you not to skip around. And without further ado, let's improve your life. When I first got into self-improvement, I was going around YouTube and I was searching up for self-improvement videos. And what I noticed is that it gave me a lot of dopamine just watching them. I planned out a bunch of goals and I had a lot of things in mind. And I just kept telling them to everyone. And what happened was that my brain tricked itself into thinking that I already accomplished the goals. So step 0, I guess you could call this, is to not binge watch these self-improvement videos and not to tell anyone about your goals. Of course, you can have a select few people that you want to talk to and tell your goals about. Just don't make that a habit. With that short step, let's move on to step 1, which is the most important step. And of course, I'm going to be talking about mental health. Now, don't skip. I know you've heard this a bunch of times, but let me just give you my perspective on mental health. So people have the tendency to think that not being able to talk to people, having a video game addiction, having no discipline, and problems with focusing on work are all separate issues. However, they're not. They all stem from one thing, which is your mental health. Like I said before, this is probably a really cliche advice that you've heard millions of times before, but there's a reason why it's so popular. Think about it. Imagine you're at home all day, either playing video games or indulging yourself in bad habits. What do you think happens in your brain? First of all, it becomes tired of all the strain. And it also becomes really undisciplined because of the access to the free dopamine everywhere. And the problem that arose for me was that I had like mental fogs. I knew I was smart, I knew I could have done better in class, I knew I could have done better on tests, but for some reason, every time I would pick up my pencil and start working on a test, I would just fumble the bag. I felt as if my head was heavy and there was just like a mist around me. Then I looked at one of my friends who had exceptional mental health and I just watched how he worked. He just got straight to focus, he started doing all his work, didn't even check his phone once. And I started thinking, does he get the same pleasures as I do when I sit around home all day playing video games? I don't think so. What are some ways that you can level up your mental health? Let's start by understanding who you are, and I'm about to give you advice that I haven't heard on YouTube before. It may be somewhere deep in the YouTube archives like this video will be, but for the select few that are watching this video, I want you to take notes because this is something I learned from self-experience. I don't even know if self-experience is a word. What I want you to do is to sit down on your bed and close your eyes, turn off all the distractions, take everything out of your room basically. Not everything, but just all the electronics. And I want you to stare at your wall for like an hour. Like, I know this sounds really stupid, but trust me, just stare at your wall for like around an hour and your brain will automatically go into a train of thought. And it really shows what you think about. You'll start thinking about things you're insecure of, your deepest desires, even some random BS. Everything you're thinking about is who you are. With all this information that you got, journal it down and then start working to fix your insecurities and fix the bad habits that your brain thinks about. When I first did this, I'm not making this shit up, my brain told me that I'm spending too much time playing games. I felt shit about my body. I didn't know who I really was, and I don't know, it's just a lot of things came up. I can't really name it all because I forgot it was like a few years ago. Next step I started doing was meditating. And this is basic advice, but what I did was I would wake up early in the morning and then I would just start meditating for a bit. 5 minutes. I started with 5 minutes. And I moved on to 10, 15. Some days I would do 20, and it really depended on how I felt. When you meditate, you train your brain to relax and focus. And what happens is, instead of worrying about random things, which will of course happen when you first start meditating, you're bringing your focus into your breath, which you can incorporate to your daily life by bringing your focus to the moment. I know this happened to most of you before. When you're in the middle of a test, and you stumble upon a hard question, you immediately start wandering off and calculating your grade after the test. And with meditation, I train myself to bring my focus back to the topic at hand. And lastly, for mental health, this is yet another really basic advice, but it's vital. I want you to create a gratitude journal. And every day, either when you wake up or before you go to bed, I want you to sit down and write at least 5 things that you're grateful for in your life. It could be like having a pillow, having your parents, having a roof to live under, or even having internet so you can educate yourself. Because a lot of people aren't privileged enough to have this stuff. Just make sure that you write something new every single time. Step 2, I started working on my physical health. When you have a healthy body and a healthy mind, you become automatically happy no matter what the situation is. You'll always be able to feel better unless it's something really serious like your family member dying or something. How can you improve your body? It's simple, yet hard at the same time. In explanation, in theory, I could explain it to you in under 30 seconds, yet it'll take years of commitment to achieve. All you have to do is commit to a diet, a working routine, and a sleeping routine. For dieting, depending on what you're trying to achieve, there are different types of things you should do. You can either cut or bulk, but if you're starting out and you're pretty skinny, I suggest that you bulk. Even if you're skinny fat, just bulk, because you have nothing to cut down to and you're just going to regret it. Also a saying where if you want to lose weight, just move more and have a healthy diet. If you want to lose fat, move more, have a healthy diet, and eat a lot of protein. And if you want to gain muscle and lose fat, move more, have a healthy diet, eat protein, and use resistance training. And even if you don't have access to a gym, like I didn't for the first year or so of my self-improvement, you can just go outside, grab onto a tree and start doing a bunch of pull-ups. It's good for your lats. If there is no trees in your area, you can either do 100 push-ups a day or more depending on your level, or just watch YouTube videos. There's like a few creators like Bully Juice and Fraser Wilson that I used to watch, and they have really well put workout routines. And lastly, it's goal setting. What's the point of going through self-improvement and trying to self-actualize if you have no goals to work towards? This is why the last major step for me was to set up goals. For me, a few goals were to start a YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, to mess around with SMMA for a bit. I actually had a thought of a YouTube video called Think Your Way to Success, where I'll talk about goal setting and how to achieve them and what to do to not fail. If you are interested in this, please leave it in the comments below, because I want to make videos that you guys would want to watch. I know this is a pretty long video and I probably lost a lot of people's attention because I don't have any way to edit this, but if you did stay around and you had the discipline to watch this video fully, I want to wish you the best on your journey. Anyways, like always, stay healthy and keep hustling.